Hello everyone, and welcome to our comprehensive guide on becoming an air traffic controller, ATC, in ATC24. This tutorial is designed to help newcomers and experienced players alike understand the fundamentals of aviation and ATC24. By the end of this guide, you'll be well prepared to excel as an ATC on ATC24. The beginning of every controlling session is to log in correctly, post your ATIS, and claim the current airport as yours. Let's begin by diving deeper into some essential aviation terminology that you'll encounter in ATC4. First of is the airport terminology. Runways are the designated strips where aircraft land and take off. Taxiways are the designated paths around the airport for aircraft to move. Gate or stands are positions where aircrafts are parked at these designated locations. Ramp or aprons are the area adjacent to the terminal where aircraft are parked and serviced. Let's get further with some basic radio terminology. Affirm refers a quick yes response. Correction means that you're making an acknowledgement of a previous error along with a corrected message. By saying correct, you're giving a confirmation of accuracy. Disregard is the instruction to ignore a message. Acknowledge is a request for confirmation of message understanding. Wilco is short for will comply and is a commitment to comply with instructions. Negative is a clear no or denial. Confirm is a request for verification. Now, let's explore the NATO phonetic alphabet, which is a fundamental tool for clear communication in aviation. These phonetic codes are used on ATC24 for ATIS tags, taxiway names, and call signs, ensuring clarity on sometimes crackly aviation radios. Here's the NATO phonetic alphabet: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, Juliet, Kilo, Lima, Mike, November, Oscar, Papa, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-Ray, Yankee, Zulu. Flight plans are critical documents filed by pilots or flight dispatchers. They provide essential information to controllers, including aircraft type, departure and arrival airports, and cruise level. To understand this better, let's look at an example flight plan. Call sign BAY-W2434. This is the unique identifier used by air traffic control ATC to communicate with a specific flight. In this case, BAW is the ICAO code for British Airways, and 2434 is the flight number. Aircraft A320. This specifies the type of aircraft used for the flight. In this case, it's an Airbus A320. IFR, VFR, IFR, Instrument Flight Rules. This indicates the set of rules under which the flight will be conducted. IFR stands for Instrument Flight Rules, which means the flight will be conducted using instruments for navigation and in various weather conditions, even in low visibility. It's a controlled flight, conducted under ATC guidance, departing IRFD, Greater Rockford. This specifies the departure airport using its ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization code, which is IRFD for Greater Rockford Airport. Arriving, IPPH, Perth. This specifies the arrival airport using its ICAO code, which is IPPH for Perth. Route, optional, GPS direct. This part of the flight plan mentions the route or navigation method to be used. GPS direct means the aircraft will navigate directly to the destination using a GPS, Global Positioning System, route. It's a more direct route, often used when available and suitable. FL, flight level, 030. Flight level, FL, is a way to express an aircraft's altitude in hundreds of feet. In this case, FL 030 means the aircraft will cruise at an altitude of 3,000 feet above the standard sea level pressure, typically used for high-altitude flight levels. Flight levels help maintain vertical separation between aircraft. Squawk 3615. The squawk code is a 4-digit code that helps air traffic control radar systems identify and track the aircraft. Each aircraft is assigned a unique squawk code for a specific flight. In this case, the code 3615 will be used for this flight to ensure its identification on radar screens. Overall, this flight plan indicates that a British Airways flight, BAW2434, using an Airbus A320, will depart from Greater Rockford Airport, IRFD, and arrive at Perth, IPPH, while following IFR procedures. The aircraft will use a GPS direct route at a flight level of 3,000 feet and will be squawking the code 2615 for radar identification and tracking. Flight level, FL, is an alternative way of expressing an aircraft's altitude. It's typically used in aviation and represents altitude in hundreds of feet with 3 digits. For instance, FL030 corresponds to 3,000 feet. FL is used both in flight plans and radio communications. The semicircular rule is a method for ensuring vertical separation between aircraft. On ATC24, it's important to follow the east-west split. Eastbound flights, heading 360, 179, should file an odd cruise level, while westbound flights, heading 359, 180, should file an even cruise level. Unicom, Universal Communications, is an advisory radio frequency, 122.8, used by aircraft to advise others of their intentions and movements at uncontrolled airports. In ATC24, the main VC becomes the Unicom frequency when an airport is uncontrolled. A traffic pattern or visual circuit is a defined path for aircraft during takeoff and landing while maintaining visual contact with the airfield. It can be left hand or right hand, depending on the direction of turns. VFR, Visual Flight Rules. Aircraft often request visual circuits for practice landings and approaches. Note: IFR circuits do not follow a traffic pattern as aircraft are vectored to an ILS or visual approach. Holding points are designated positions intended to protect runways, obstacle limitation surfaces, or ILS/MLS critical sensitive areas. In PTFS, these are primarily located around runways. They consist of 2 dotted lines facing the runway and 2 solid lines facing away from it. While there's no in-game ILS system in ATC24, ILS approaches are used during RP, similar to visual approaches. Pilots align themselves with the runway center line and descend using PAPI lights visually. In aviation, charts are vital tools used to provide visual information to both pilots and controllers. These charts can include information like taxiway layouts, gate positions, approaches, departures, and routings. Here are some essential frequencies for communication. Chicago Center, 124.850, so tough. Center, 128.600. Tokyo Control, 132.300. Perth Center, 135.250. Lazarus Center, 126.300. Norsum Center, 125.640. Keflavik Control, 126.750. Brighton Control, 127.820. Let's get started with basic phraseology and how to manage traffic at your airport. Radio checks. Pilots often request radio checks to verify the performance of their communication equipment. For instance, a pilot might say, Lufthansa 32227 radio check. As the tower controller, your response should indicate how well you understand the pilot's transmission on a scale from 1 to 5. Your response might be something like, Lufthansa 32227, read you 5, indicating that the communication is crystal clear. IFR clearance. This procedure involves providing the pilot with the necessary clearances to operate under Instrument Flight Rules, IFR. You'll need to provide the pilot with specific information. Begin with the aircraft's call sign and mention that you have the current ATIS information. Confirm that the startup is approved. Specify the destination airport. mention the standard instrument departure (SID) assigned for their departure. Confirm that the route in the flight plan is cleared. Instruct the pilot to climb according to the SID. Provide the assigned flight level. Communicate the assigned squawk code. For example, Air France 8427, Information Alpha, Startup Approved, Cleared Rockford, Onda 1 Lima departure, Flight Planned Route, Climb via SID, Flight Level 30, Squawk 3321. A critical point to remember is that a full readback by the pilot is required to ensure they have correctly understood and acknowledged all the clearances. Pushback clearance. When a pilot requests a pushback, they may say something like, Air France 8427, ready for push. As the controller, your role is to grant clearance for the pushback and specify the direction in which the aircraft should face during pushback. You may also need to inform the pilot to watch out for other traffic. For example, Air France 8427 cleared push facing north. Additionally, you can specify the tail direction, such as tail left or tail right, to provide further guidance during the pushback process. Taxi clearance. Once the pilot is prepared for taxi, they will request taxi instructions to reach the active departure runway. Your role as the tower controller is to provide precise and clear taxi instructions, guiding the pilot through the airport using designated taxiways. For instance, if the pilot needs to taxi from taxiway Alpha to runway 31 in Tokyo and can use Alpha A13 and Bravo A13 for this route, your instruction might be as follows. Air France 8427, taxi to runway 31 via Alpha 13 and Bravo 13, hold short 31. This instruction guides the pilot to the active runway, specifies the taxi route, and reminds them to hold short before entering the runway. These procedures are essential for ensuring safe and efficient operations at the airport, maintaining clear communication between controllers and pilots, and facilitating the orderly movement of aircraft on the ground. Providing takeoff clearance is a crucial step in ensuring safe and efficient departures. You have the flexibility to issue this clearance either while the aircraft is holding short of the runway or even as it approaches the holding point. When clearing an aircraft for takeoff, you need to convey two essential pieces of information: the departure runway that the aircraft should use, the current wind direction and speed to help the pilot gauge the conditions. For example, Air France 8427, winds 240 degrees, 11 knots, runway 31, cleared for takeoff. This instruction informs the pilot about the wind conditions and the assigned departure runway, granting them permission to initiate the takeoff procedure. It's worth noting that you can also opt to clear the pilot to line up with the runway and wait. This is especially useful when another aircraft is on the runway. Here's an example for arriving traffic. Air France 8427, behind the arriving Condor A330, line up and wait behind. This instruction tells the pilot to wait in a queued position behind an arriving aircraft, ensuring orderly departures and safe operations. As an ATC controller, once an aircraft exits your airspace and transitions into another controller's jurisdiction, you need to facilitate the handover process. The way you handle this handover depends on whether the next station is online or not. If the next station isn't online, you can instruct the aircraft to monitor UNICOM, a universal advisory radio frequency used at uncontrolled airports. For example, Air France 8427, you're leaving my airspace, monitor UNICOM 122.8. This instruction informs the pilot that they should switch to monitoring UNICOM for advisory communications since there isn't another controller available. If the next station is online and ready to take over, you can transfer the aircraft to that controller by providing the new controller's frequency. For example, Air France AT427. You're leaving my airspace. Contact SOTAF Center on 128.6. When an aircraft enters your airspace, you should wait for it to log in by acknowledging its presence and the current altitude. At this point, your role as the controller is to guide the incoming aircraft to its arrival runway using specific procedures. Assigning a star standard terminal arrival route. If the aircraft's flight plan includes a star, you can assign it to follow this predefined route that guides the aircraft from its current position to the approach phase for a particular runway. You would communicate the assigned star to the pilot, ensuring a seamless transition. For example, Lufthansa 1234, enter the Onder 1 Bravo arrival for runway 20. Giving radar vectors. In some cases, instead of a predefined star, you may need to provide radar vectors to guide the aircraft to the desired runway. This involves issuing specific headings and altitudes to the pilot to navigate the aircraft toward the final approach. For example, Delta 456, turn left, heading 270, descend and maintain 4,000 feet. Expect vectors for the ILS approach to runway 20. These procedures ensure that incoming aircraft are safely and efficiently guided to the arrival runway, maintaining order and safety in your airspace. When an aircraft is in a suitable position and at the correct altitude to intercept the ILS, Instrument Landing System, localizer, you can proceed to clear it for the ILS approach. The ILS approach is a critical phase of the flight that helps guide the aircraft safely toward the runway. To clear the aircraft for the ILS approach, you would typically provide specific instructions to the pilot to ensure a smooth and precise approach. This may include specifying the runway and providing relevant altitude and heading instructions. For example, American 123 cleared ILS approach to runway 20. Maintain your current heading and altitude. This instruction informs the pilot that they are authorized to execute the ILS approach to the specified runway, and it includes guidance on maintaining their current heading and altitude until they are established on the localizer. Clear and concise instructions are essential during this critical phase of the flight to ensure safe and accurate landings. Landing clearance. Landing clearance is a pivotal step in the safe and orderly arrival of an aircraft. When the aircraft is in the final stages of its approach and ready for landing, you, as the controller, provide the necessary landing clearance. This clearance grants the pilot permission to land on the designated runway. Your instructions for landing clearance should be clear and concise, ensuring that the aircraft can proceed with the landing procedure without any ambiguity. For example, American 123, you are cleared to land on runway 20. This instruction signifies that the aircraft has the green light to land on the specified runway. The pilot can then proceed with the final stages of the approach, touching down safely on the runway. Landing clearance is a critical moment in air traffic control, and precise communication is essential to ensure a smooth and secure landing for the aircraft. The taxi clearance to a gate or ramp is a crucial phase that follows the landing of an aircraft. The goal is to guide the aircraft from the runway to its designated parking location. The process is similar to taxiing to the runway, but in this case, the instructions direct the aircraft to its specific gate or ramp. The key to providing taxi clearance to a gate or ramp is to issue clear and precise instructions to ensure the aircraft navigates the airport safely and efficiently. For example, Delta 456, taxi to gate 2 via taxiway Foxtrot and Alpha. Welcome to Tokyo. This instruction guides the aircraft to its assigned gate, in this case, Gate 2, using designated taxiways, Foxtrot and Alpha. Additionally, it includes a warm welcome to the airport, providing a courteous touch to the communication. As you might have noticed, Foxtrot isn't the next taxi to the current position of the arrived aircraft. You can skip a few taxiways if you want the aircraft to taxi to the next given taxiway in the most direct route. Clear and accurate taxi instructions help maintain the flow of traffic on the airport's ground, ensuring that aircraft reach their designated parking positions without any confusion. In conclusion, mastering air traffic control in ATC24 requires a combination of clear communication, strategic decision-making, and a strong focus on safety. By adhering to these guidelines and applying the tips and tricks provided, you can become a confident and effective controller, ensuring the safe and efficient operation of the virtual skies. Remember that practice and experience are key to honing your skills, so don't hesitate to dive in and explore the exciting world of air traffic control within ATC24. Whether you're guiding aircraft for takeoff, approach, or landing, your role is pivotal in maintaining order and safety in the aviation environment. If you found this tutorial helpful, be sure to subscribe, activate the bell to never miss a new video again, and like the video. Your support encourages us to create more tutorials like this to enhance your ATC24 experience. So, clear skies, confident communications, and safe landings to you as you embark on your journey as an ATC24 controller. Happy controlling!